Good day to all of you. Myself, Dr. Arvind Sharma, Associate Professor in Physics, Government Dover College, BIKANER. Today's topic for M.SC final students, radar displays. We know that what is radar. Radar is an object detection system. First of all, I give you information that this article, this is a research paper, and that is very good for information for radar displays, out of which some things you can use in your M.SC class topic. That is very informative article, okay, and best for your syllabus point of view. So I choose it for you. Radar displays by Piyush Kaushik in IJIRT. It's simple journal, but our aim is to main aim is what is the criteria of this article that is fulfills for your syllabus point of view. What is radar? Radar is an object detection system that use radio wave to determine the range, altitude, direction or speed of objects. It can determine range, altitude, direction or speed of objects. Modern radar systems typically use some sort of raster scan displays to produce a map-like image. Early in radar developments, however, numerous circumstances made such displays difficult to produce. Because displays are the most important part of radar system, by observing displays, you can get the information about the object. People ultimately developed several different display types. Early radar displays used adapted oscilloscopes. Initially, displays used adapted oscilloscope with various inputs. Radar systems require an indicator system to display. Indicator system to display the video information generated. Okay, this paper briefly describes various types of displays. That is our topic. Okay, introduction. In paper, initially I also tell you that abstract, introduction, theoretical part and result and conclusions. And in research papers, the things are given very pointed and explanatory, and the knowledge given or the article given is in depth of knowledge. Okay, the word radar is a contraction of radio detection and ranging. As implied by this contraction, radars are used to detect the presence of an aim and to determine its location. The radar antenna transmits pulses of radio waves or microwaves that bounce off any object in their path. The object returns in tiny part of the waves energy to antenna that is usually located at the same site as the transmitter. The electronic principle on which radar operates is very similar to the principle of sound wave reflection. If you know the speed of sound in air, you can then determine the distance and general direction of the object. The time required for an echo to return can be roughly converted to a distance if the speed of sound is known. Radar uses electromagnetic energy pulses in much the same way. The radio frequency energy is transmitted to and reflected from the reflecting object. A small portion of the reflected energy returns to the radar set called echo. Radar sets use the echo to determine the direction and the detection of the reflecting object. A radar system has a transmitter that emits radio waves called radar signals. The signal emitted is known as radar signals is predetermined direction. When these come into contact with an object, they are usually reflected or scattered in many directions. Radar signals are reflected especially well by materials of considerable electrical conductivity. The radar signals that are reflected back towards the transmitter are the desirable ones that make radar work. If the object is moving either toward or away from the transmitter, there is a slight equivalent change in the frequency. Important point to be noted that you know that if the object is moving either toward or away from the transmitter, there is a slight equivalent change in the frequency of the radio waves caused by the Doppler effect. Radar receivers are usually, but not always, in the same location as the transmitter. Although the reflected radar signals captured the receiving antenna are usually very weak, they can be strengthened by electronic amplifiers. The weak absorption of radio waves by the medium through which it passes is what enables radar sets to detect objects at relatively long ranges at which other electromagnetic wavelengths, such as visible light, infrared light, and ultraviolet light, are too strong attenuated. Such weather phenomena as fog, clouds, rain, falling snow, and sleet that block visible light are usually transparent to radio waves. Certain radio frequencies that are absorbed or scattered by water vapor, raindrops, or atmospheric gases, especially oxygen, are avoided in designing radars, except when their direction is intended. Radar relies on its own transmissions rather than light from the sun or the moon, or from electromagnetic waves emitted by the objects themselves, such as infrared wavelengths heat. This process of directing artificial radio waves towards objects is called illumination. We just illuminate the object. Although radio waves are invisible to the human eye or optical cameras, although radio waves are invisible to human eyes or optical cameras, a very important point that to be noted by you. So this is the introductory information about the radar and how radar operates. Now the point radar displays. The information available from a radar receiver may contain many as several million separate data bits per second, because information is in the form of data bits per second. Okay, from these and other data such as the orientation of the antenna, the indicator should present to the observer a continuous, easily understandable graphic picture of the relative position of radar targets. It should provide size, shape, and insofar as possible indicators of type of targets. A cathode ray tube, you all are familiar with this term, cathode ray tube, fulfills these requirements to an astonishing degree. The cathode ray tube's principal shortcoming is that it cannot present a true three-dimensional picture. That is the drawback of CRT. The cathode ray tube's principal shortcomings is that it cannot present a true 3D picture. The fundamental geometrical quantities involved in radar displays are, what are the fundamental quantities which we display in the form of displays? Are first of all range, second azimuth angle or bearing, and third is elevation angle. So these are the three parts that we display. That means display shows information about these three parts. Number one, range, Number 2, azimuth angle or bearing, and number 3, elevation angle. These displays relate the position of a radar target to the origin at the antenna. Most radar displays include one or two of these quantities as coordinate of the CRT phase. The actual range of a target from the radar, whether on the ground, in the water, or in the air, is known as slant range. The actual range of a target from the radar, whether on the ground, in the water, or in the air, is known as slant range. The majority of displays use as one coordinate the value of the slant range, its horizontal projection, or its vertical projection. Slant range horizontal projection is known as ground range, and its vertical projection is known as altitude. Okay? Range is displayed by means of a linear time-based sweep. Range is displayed by means of linear time-based sweep, starting from a given point or line at a definite time in each pulse cycle. Thus, distances along this range sweep actually measure slant range. The sweep speed determines the scale factor, which relates the distance on the tube to actual range. The sweep speed determines the scale factor, which relates the distance on the tube to actual range. The sweep length is the total distance represented. What is sweep length? Sweep length is the total distance represented. Distances are expressed in miles. Statute or nautical or yards. What is the unit of distances? Are in miles. Statute or nautical or yards. The origin of the range sweep may be on or off the tube face. The most common type of displays called scopes. Normally, the displays which are classified are known as scopes. A scope, range height indicator scope, plan position indicator scope, B scope, C scope. These are the classification. ABC are common: A scope, B scope, C scope. Easily you can remember. A, B, C. A scope, B scope, C scope. Range height indicator scope, RHI scope. Plan position indicator scope, PPI scope. These 5 classifications are explained in this paper in very well and in very informative information is given in this paper, and that is sufficient for your M.SC final class syllabus point of view. Okay, so in next lecture we study or we try to understand this paper very carefully. We just extract the material that we need. If you don't understand in depth, that is not important. The necessary parts, if you understand and extract from it and you just understand, that is sufficient for you. So don't worry about that you are reading a research paper. That is very simple research paper, and you are just going to make a dissertation for your M.SC class also. So radar displays is also a part of dissertation. If you choose some radar systems topic for your dissertation, and radar system can be also radar displays, radar transmitters, radar receivers, such kind of parts or such kind of topic you can use or you can choose for your dissertation. Okay, thanks to all of you.